Hi everyone, Sifu Rafi Dudarian here. Hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to shoot a video for you where we're going to take single stick against double stick. It's a great little drill. It was one of the first things I learned in Kali many years ago. I still practice it to this day. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm sure you're going to get a kick out of it. So in a minute I'm going to be bringing out my student. We're still in the middle of the pandemic. I'm going to be putting on my mask. Check back with you in just a second. All right, let's get started. This is my student, Tony. He's one of my senior Jeet Kune Do college students here at the Dudarian Academy of Martial Arts in Johnston, Rhode Island. The drill again is single stick versus double stick. So it's going to work off the same diamond pattern that we did in high-low. So I'm going to strike with an inward and then a low backhand, and then I'm going to do a high backhand and a low inward. So it's going to be here. Some people say this is a diamond. Some people think of it more as a circle. That doesn't matter. Just again, as I said in the high-low video that we shot before, make sure you're doing full strokes and not just sort of reaching out and touching, your partner's weapon. Make sure every strike is full. At the beginning, you're going to make a very exaggerated motion, but as you get more comfortable with the technique, then it'll get tailored down just a little bit, so it's not quite this anymore. It would be more just maybe here. So the way it starts is, we're going to do the inward and then the low backhand. And I retract, and he comes in inward on the other side, and I go backhand. So he's just doing the basic 4 count that we did before. And if you haven't checked out that video yet, I suggest you do it. Pretty simple, right? As I did in our high-low video, we're just isolating the sticks at the beginning so you get the hang of that, and then in a second we'll put in some of the footwork. The first variation on the drill, because in Kali, right, we never leave anything alone. We learn a drill or a pattern, and then the next step is to break that drill or that pattern. So where I tell my students to go next is, once they're comfortable doing it, is to switch hands. So now I'm going to do it on the left side. Because if you don't make yourself do the left side, your right hand gets really good. And then if you find yourself with a single stick in your left hand, you're not as proficient as you probably want to be. So we try to make everything equal in Kali as best we can. So the next step in our progression would be to switch hands in the drill. So I start out just like I've been doing. High, low, high, low, high, low, then I switch hands. And so on. So why would you do that? Well, for practicality, if your hand you were holding it in were tied up, you could train yourself instinctively to switch hands, and then you're just as skilled in the left hand. I also like to think it's a great coordination exercise, a great technique to do. When you get the drill going really fast and you're switching hands, your hands get quicker. So incrementally, you want to speed what we just did. You want to speed that up as fast as you can while maintaining good form. So if you're going really quick, but you just sort of, again, as I say, reaching out and just touching the other guy's weapon, then you need to reel it in and get back to a better technique. So after you get comfortable with single in the right hand, single on the left hand, single switching. Then we have a couple of more variations on the drill. The first one we teach is against thrust. So what will happen is Tony's going to replace his inward with the thrust, or in Kali they call it a sungiti. So the first one's going to be a palm out thrust directed at my chest, and then the second one would just be a reverse thrust. So if you're not familiar with these techniques, very briefly, all you have to do is palm out and thrust in towards the chest, and then from here we call this a backhanded thrust where my knuckles are in. So, out rather. So knuckles in, and then knuckles out on this side. When would you do it? You would do it randomly. So, start out with the regular drill. All right, and then he rolls off of it here, and then we go to the low, and then we come up high. He rolls off of that, and then we go back into the pattern. So what he's doing is when he thrusts, I meet the weapon. And then he just kind of rolls over, and that would represent, say if we had an edged weapon and I blocked it, he would roll over into my hand or my knuckles or my arm, and that would cause me to drop my weapon. Okay, so he's just reacting off of my block. And then after he does the roll, he rolls over, and then he goes to the next technique, which is the low backhand. So we're only changing the high portion of the drill. Now, after he does that, he can hit me with another thrust, or he can just come in with an inward slash like he did before. So if he comes in here with the thrust, I block it, and he rolls the same way. And then we would go to the low. Okay? The bottom stays the same. The high line can be changed on both or on one. So he could come in and thrust here and then come back with the slash. Or he could go high, low, thrust, and low. Okay, so the bottom part doesn't change, and he can randomly change one or both of the high line strikes. Okay, so let's just play with that a little bit. My side's easy. Okay, and I think you get the idea of that. So again, it doesn't end, right? We take what he just did and we go a little further with it, but this time I get the benefit. I'm going to practice a quick disarm. Okay, so what will happen is when he thrusts, I'm going to block it and I'm going to come under and strip it out. Okay, so when would I do that? If it's going really fast and I can't pull it off, then it's just not going to happen. But your partner in the drill might just kind of leave it out there, and that's my cue to practice my disarm until my hand speed gets quickly enough where I can do it at a quicker rate, at a faster speed rather. So again, just to show this, my stick is on the inside, and I come up here behind his hand. And then from here, I push it out. Okay, so we're just going to change positions for a second so I can show that a little more clearly. So when he does his thrust, this would be hitting his hand. I'd be smashing his knuckles or his wrist, hopefully to make him drop the weapon there, but he may not. And if you notice, cradling his stick right along the bend of my arm, my hand is here, and then all I do is I point to my right, and that's an impact strip disarm. And then from here, of course, we hit back with combinations. So, again, one more time slowly. I split the technique. I have one of my arms on the outside, and inside rather, and this is on the outside, and then I take it out that way. Okay? When he thrusts with his left hand, and I'm on the inside, all right? So there's two ways we can do this. Okay, I can split it where my weapon hand is on the outside, and my empty hand is on the inside. So from here, this could be when he thrusts, I might split and hit here, and then come out here and take the weapon. We're going to cover disarms on a different video. So if you didn't quite get those, you can go and check out my video on disarms, and you'll see that done with a little more explanation and more clearly. So if we were going to put in the footwork, it's pretty much the same as I did in my high-low video. So again, for the purposes here, we're kind of restricted by how far we can range, but in your dojo, you can range all over the place, go over the whole dojo floor. So we're gonna go high-low, and then he advances. And then I advance. And then maybe I go to my right. And then he goes to his left. And we circle. Right? And then we can go laterally. So from here we just go sideways. And then we change. And then as I showed in the high-low 4-count drill, you can go to the ground. So I'm standing, and he could be kneeling, and I'm going to circle around him. So he gets on one knee, and I'm going to go here. You see how he's switching his feet? That's important, okay? And then maybe I go this way. And so on. So you have advancing, you have lateral movement, you have retreating, and then you have something circular. Circular both standing, circular with one guy on the ground. So that's a very simple and basic introduction to introductory Kali exercise that has so much depth. You can go on for a really long, you could spend classes doing this drill and no one's going to get bored. I hope you liked that video we just shot. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, say something nice in the comments below. Thank you, Tony, for helping me. You guys have a great day.